Okay, so we just talked a lot about Marathon and the whole scandal going on over there right now, and that is looking more and more likely that it's going to be another addition to the list of failed PlayStation live service games, which is not a small list. Radek put this list together on X, as you can see, May 2025 update. It's amazing. We're doing monthly updates now on PlayStation's live service initiative. And again, just to run through these, there are 18 games listed. Of these, 3 have launched and released and remain out. The 4th, Concord, was taken offline in 11 days, I think it was, which fun fact, the lifespan of a fly is 15 to 30 days. So your average house fly technically outlived Concord, which is freaking hilarious. Okay? Just so you know. Other than that, there's a few other projects. Marathon by Bungie. Again, I'm not expecting that to pop off that hard. Destruction All-Stars, Lucid Games. I mean, it released. I don't think it's been successful, but yeah, it's out. Helldivers 2 was successful. We recently found out, sold 12 million copies. So that Helldivers 2, certainly this is the most successful. Gran Turismo 7 also has made lots of money, I'm sure, but they've got basically 2 solid successes, I would say, out of all of this, but Concord, not so much. Marathon, at this point, I honestly don't see how they come back from everything that's going on. Like the sentiment around the game was not good to begin with after the alpha. People were already like, oh, well, it's nowhere near as good as Arc Raiders, so I'm going to be playing Arc Raiders instead. And I just don't see how they dig themselves out of this. Like, I really don't. That doesn't give me joy to say that. Like, I was hoping that Bungie would see a resurgence, but after this, I really don't know how they could possibly come back from it. Beyond that, Fairgame $sign was expected at the end of this year, and then they announced a delay I think it was a couple months ago or something, but this has been delayed into 2026. And then there's the Horizon multiplayer game made by Guerrilla. That's probably going to launch the same day as GTA 6, knowing their release strategies, but that's probably coming early next year would be the guess. And then there's a Horizon MMO being made by NCSoft that I can't imagine launches next year. I would imagine if they have a big multiplayer Horizon game, they let that stand by itself at least for a year, and then you release the second one. But again, I cannot fathom a world in which both of these do well, but whatever. It's Herman. That's what Herman does, is he loves his Horizon stuff. Team LFG title, Bungie spinoff team. This is what we talked about earlier when we were talking about Marathon and Bungie and everything. This, basically when Sony bought Bungie for $3.7 billion, they bought them for 3 things: Destiny 2, Marathon, and then this third project. That third project was spun off into its own thing, which is what this is. So this is technically, you can think of it as part of that Bungie package, but it's being made by a spin-off team now that's its own studio. Might be because they're preparing to take decisive action with Bungie, especially after all of this with Marathon's troubles now. But we'll see. Dark Outlaw Games, Jason Blundell led studio. We don't know anything about that. Media Molecule live service game. We don't know anything about that. And then of these other ones, The Last of Us Online was canceled after 4 or 5 years of development. Twisted Metal, canceled. Spider-Man: The Great Web, canceled. London Studio live service game, canceled. God of War live service game, canceled. Ben Studio live service game, canceled. And Deviation Games title, canceled. They're doing really well. This is great. This is, in case you're not clear, this is part of the reason, a major component of why this generation has felt so freaking hollow, is because all of these phenomenally talented studios that traditionally would have been working on, those AA or even AAA projects, they were spending years working on this stuff that was either canceled or has just been delayed into oblivion. Yeah, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. But one of the games that's coming out soon is, of course, Marathon. The other one that's supposed to be coming out in the next year, approximately, is Fairgame $sign. In case you forgot this one, we joke about this a lot, because it's quite funny. Pretty bad. They had this disastrous reveal back May of 23. So it's been 2 years. What day is it? In a week, it'll be 2 years since it was revealed, okay? 2 years. And it's this extraction thing, it looks like, where you go and they say your chance to rob the rich and rebalance the scales. Fairgames is a competitive modern heist game where you team up, break into exotic locations, and steal the cargo. The twist, you only need to outsmart guards and security systems. You also compete against other teams. Crews that extract with the most loot and flair might just rise to the top of Fairgame $. Take it till you make it. Who will you recruit first for your crew? So they have all this, they show it. It looks very Watch Dogs-esque, especially this bit with like the masks. It looks very Watch Dogs. And that wasn't really a surprise because this studio is called Haven. And Haven was co-founded by a woman named Jade Raymond. She's an OG, okay? Like Jade has worked on some amazingly successful things and then some things that were not that successful. Worked from 2004 to 2010 at Ubisoft Montreal and led the creation of Assassin's Creed. Literally, the franchise would not exist without Jade. It's just a matter of fact, okay? Like Jade is one of the OGs in creating that fantastically successful franchise. You don't have to like it, but it is worth billions of dollars. And she was there at the beginning. Ubisoft Toronto was the managing director there for 4 years, then moved over to EA Motive and worked on a Star Wars game with Amy Hennig, who famously worked on and started the Uncharted series. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? So that was what was that called? The Star Wars game Amy Hennig was working on. Do you remember? Do you remember what it was called? Amy Hennig, Star Wars. I don't remember the name of it. Yeah, this is Amy Hennig. This is her talking a little bit about it. I don't think they ever showed anything more, but it was basically supposed to be a big narrative game. 1313 E3 demo full gameplay. Yeah, look at this. This game never saw the light of day. What a waste, dude. What an absolute waste. Worked on it for a long time and then it was dumped and abandoned. It's crazy. Imagine an Uncharted Star Wars game. Sounds great. Sounds great. So she worked over there on that project for a while, and that, you know, of course would never see the light of day, but worked on that for a while. 2019 to 2021 was head of Stadia Games and Studios. They can't all be winners. You know, they can't all be winners. And then after that, went and founded Haven Studios, working on an original PlayStation IP. And Haven Studios is a studio they bought out. And they bought them out because a lot of the people at Haven were Google employees, former Google people. And they had worked on a bunch of proprietary tech to do a lot of remote work, is my understanding. If you go to their website, the Haven Games website. So they have a bunch of information on here about how they make tools and they make all this stuff. You can see they're hiring people, senior level designer, gameplay programmer, audio designer, pipeline programming, intern, senior lighting artist, senior UI programmer, all of that. But one of the big things that they pushed was that they had a lot of tools that made remote work easier. They had a lot of tools that allowed for cloud development, which is useful for like having a team in Montreal and then another team in France, another team in Germany, another team in Florida. You have all these people working on the same project at the same time. And that was apparently one of the reasons why Mark Cerny was so excited about their acquisition and getting involved with them from the very, very beginning. But their inaugural project was Fairgame $. And that's why it was so insane that the announcement trailer 2 years ago was received so poorly, because this represented a massive investment for them. But the reaction was universally negative. You want to see me lose 400 million? Want to see me do it again? You sure you want to go through this after Concord, Sony? You want to know about us? No. Eat the rich, $800 console without a disk drive by default. Eat the rich, said BlackRock, the multinational investment management corporation. You can actually feel Sony sweating nervously through the screen. Sony is not looking for a game of the year. Sony's looking to break the 12-day record. Oh, and this is where it gets really hard for them. And not in a good way. Like, for them, the whole dialogue around a lot of these live service games is so negative. It's going to be really hard to dig themselves out of that pit. And that's the difficulty with Marathon right now, is the entire sentiment, the whole discourse, the narrative, everything around that game is disastrously negative. And I don't know how you possibly dig yourself out of that hole. You know, I really don't see it. Mr. Steal and Kill, Limits Breaker, and Melissa all gifted a membership to the community. One each. Thank you guys. It's fantastic. Welcome. Again, if you just got gifted a membership, get in the Discord right now. Do it. Do it. You'll be happy. It's fantastic. It's a super good time. Getting over this negativity is the real hurdle. And I don't know how you do it, frankly. I really don't know how you fix this and get people positive about it again. But you might be like, Luke, for the love of God, get to the point. Why are we talking about Fairgame $ again? Firstly, it's because it's no longer Fairgame $. They changed the name. I think I made fun of it too much. I'm one of the few people that still is talking about Fairgame $. Most people forget that it exists. And every time I do talk about it, I call it Fairgame $, because it's a $, and I think it's funny. They are dropping the $, and now just calling it Fairgames. Yeah, this is coming from Jason Schreier as well, who responded to this and said they're dropping the $. It's now just Fairgames. Oops. Sorry. The meme is dead. And we killed it. But what's more incredible, though, beyond that, you might be also wondering why did you talk about Jade Raymond so much at the top of this? She's leaving the studio that she founded. Hold on, where did I put it? Hold on. I need something. Got it. I don't have to tell you, it's not great when the person that founded the company is leaving before the first product even drops. You know, that's not great. And this type of thing has happened before. Do you remember Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? The founders and heads of that studio left coincidentally right before Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League launched. They left Rocksteady behind and moved on. It's almost like they knew the ship was sinking and they wanted to get out. But there is more information here, okay? It's not just purely speculation or anything. As we can see here from the Bloomberg article, Jade Raymond, the founder and head of Sony Corp's game developer Haven Studios, has left the company. PlayStation leadership didn't give Haven staff a reason for her departure, but it came several weeks after an external test of Haven's first game, the online shooter Fairgames. Again, no $. According to people with knowledge of the matter. Some developers at Haven were concerned about how the game was received and its progress, said the people, who asked not to be identified because they aren't authorized to speak publicly. Here's the thing, okay? The phrasing is leaves studio she founded. But what's the first thing that's reported? PlayStation leadership didn't give the staff a reason for her departure. This was not an instance where she sent out a memo and it's like, hey, due to health concerns, I've had to step away. Or I've decided to leave to put other people in my place to run the project better. It really sounds like she was fired. It really sounds like she was fired. Yeah, invited to leave, maybe, but even then, like, typically when there's like a friendly thing going on, they'll be like, oh, they've decided to step away to pursue other adventures or something. And we wish them the best of luck. For her, it sounds like she didn't show up to work, and then the leadership above her said nothing about why. Not great. Not great. I'll tell you what. Not great. Yeah, it's not sounding too good. Also, Mr. Seal Kill, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Jesus, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody who just got to join the Discord. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Steelio Kill, for gifting even more memberships and helping the community out. That's fantastic. Jade Raymond has been an incredible partner and visionary force in founding Haven Studios, a PlayStation spokesperson said in a statement. We are deeply grateful for her leadership and contributions, and we wish her all the best in her next chapter. It kind of sounds like she was fired. Sounds a little bit like she got fired. A little bit.
Cedric Chasang donated €11 through Super Chat.
Thank you, Cedric.
Jade Raymond never shipped anything she directly produced since AC1 in 2007, and jumped from studios to studio. I never understood why she is still being talked about as if she's still relevant.
You do have to wonder if your claim to fame is from 20 years ago, you haven't done anything of consequence since that's shipped. You do have to wonder, like, how are you still here? It is a very fair question. I agree. And people have said, like, she's failing upwards. I mean, I don't know exactly why the Star Wars project, for example, was canceled. I don't know that. I know Stadia was canceled because it's a Google thing where they just start a new project, try it for 6 months, and when it doesn't work, they give up on it and shut everything down. That's just kind of how Google does stuff. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt, the results kind of speak for themselves. And even if she was like working on a bunch of very successful games for the last 15 years, and then she worked on Fairgame $, and it was received that way, the results kind of speak for themselves. You are responsible for that massive project, and it's probably going to lose a lot of money. And so, like, that lands on you. And the one thing that I've said for the last year and a half is that Hiroki Totoki, the new head of Sony, he takes no crap. Okay? If he thinks you're bad at your job, you're going to go. You will go away. Right as he takes in a position, does a comprehensive overview of PlayStation, what happens? Jim Ryan is booted out. Herman Holst gets given a chance to be co-CEO and then gets demoted again. And he puts all these people who are from the Japanese side of the business, who are directly answering to him. He puts those people in position. Like, he takes no crap, okay? He is a shark, a corporate shark, and he knows what he's doing. And in this case, if he's looking at it and he's like, no, this is not going great, that's just what it's going to be. And what they specifically say here is that it came several weeks after an external test of Haven's first game. According to people familiar, some developers at Haven were concerned about how the game was received and its progress. So it sounds like they did a play test or a test of some sort of the game as it currently stands 2 years after its announcement. And the reception wasn't, at the very least, wasn't good or overwhelmingly good. Like, the reception worried some of the developers. Some of the developers were concerned about how the game was received and its progress. So devs were concerned at the reaction. And then before you know it, she's out. You killed Fairgames. You don't even know, man. Jesus, man. The spokesperson from PlayStation continued that the company is committed to supporting Haven Studios and excited to continue the journey. Oh, that's good. Fairgames was announced in 2023, one of the few entries remaining in the slate of live service games greenlit by PlayStation several years ago. PlayStation had said it planned to release more than a dozen titles designed to generate recurring revenue from players, but many of those games were canceled or released to disastrous results, such as last year's Concord, an online shooter that was pulled from stores after less than 2 weeks. Fairgames was originally slated for release in fall of 2025, but had been delayed to next spring. Raymond didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. A longtime video game industry executive, Raymond previously worked at Ubisoft, EA, and Google Stadia. She founded Haven in 2021. I mean, nonetheless, I think she probably made a lot of money. On this. And I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up, you know, maybe Ubisoft rehires her or something. Like, these types of people never go away. They always just kind of find a new place to land. But yeah, not great. And I don't see any way to read that story without it looking an awful lot like they are taking major steps to shake it up and to redo it. And frankly, the game needed that. Like, even if Fairgame $ launched and was like a really good game, let's like put ourselves in a hypothetical space. Even if the gameplay was fantastic, it still would be fighting such a crazy uphill battle because of how negative the reception to the initial trailer was, because of how cringy it was deemed. Because a lot of people did deem it really cringy. They're like, multi-billion-dollar corporation telling me to like eat the rich. Bear in mind, they probably were going to sell this for like $40 to $70. Like, they probably are viewing this as a premium product. Kind of hard to just ignore how ironic that is. It's pretty stupid, but whatever. But it's just like another sign of how there's a lot of money to be made in live service games. Not that easy to do. It just isn't. But this is another like really, really bad sign for Sony, wasting all this time, all this money on games that have just been disasters. Like, it looks like Marathon's going to be another mess, which is unfortunate, but it It just looks that way. And I mean, now Fairgames is seeing major shakeups in its leadership after this external test that they're talking about. And they don't have that much time. I mean, it's supposed to come out like less than a year from now. They said early 2026. She took the $ with her. That's good. Yeah, she's like, you can fire me, but I want one thing. What do you want? Okay, sure. So anyway, crazy developments in the world of PlayStation Live Service games, my friends. It just keeps getting even more sad. And, maybe they're going to figure it out. Maybe they're going to finally get back into the swing of things. There's speculation and rumors that there might be a PlayStation showcase at the end of the month. Jor actually predicted that it will happen on the 29th of May, that there will be like a surprise announcement like a week out where they say PlayStation Showcase May 29th. And at that showcase, they will reveal Ghost of Yotei gameplay, like extended gameplay. They probably reveal some of the other like smaller things that they've been doing. And the expectation is that they might even reveal the rumored God of War spin-off game, which potentially also launches in November. So they have some stuff, and maybe that's the first step towards a more regular PlayStation cadence of first-party single-player games. But they have a few more live service games to get out before this era is totally behind us. And unfortunately, it's just going to take a little while longer. So that's just what it's going to be. But it goes to show you how just having one stupid executive in the form of like a Jim Ryan can screw up your business for 5, 6, 7 years. Just one executive being an idiot causes all this damage and billions of dollars wasted. They could have asked me like for $100, hey, is us buying Bungie right now a good idea? And I would have said, no, thank you for the $100. And they would have saved still close to $3.7 billion.
Claire Lane donated $10 through Super Chat. Sony wasted this generation with remakes and failed live services.
I mean, it certainly feels like they've wasted a lot of time. And in the case of like Naughty Dog, I don't think there's any way to spin it without saying, yeah, we spent 4 years doing stuff that largely was inconsequential. And that sucks. I mean, it's just a waste. He took my thing.